Welcome back to the podcast. It's episode 13 of the Sweetcast. I'm your host. You guys know me. I'm Liam, and Cameron is still here despite his
are we like starting?
Despite his playing around last week that he's going to be leaving. He did not leave. What do you mean starting it again? We just did it. This is the first time doing it.
So Liam may be cutting out the part where I said that I had to suck him off to stay.
Stop. This is the beginning of the podcast.
Okay, and? Well, is YouTube going to demonetize it?
Actually, they might. There's like apparently new rules coming out about videos.
You're not monetized though, are you?
Yeah, but they might shadow ban.
Oh shit, shadow ban. I forgot about that. So I did not have to suck Liam's willy off on both knees as he called me a little slut. He did not make me do that. He also did not make me call him daddy. That was not part of it. He did not. But I'm still here, and I'm very happy to be here. So the first topic today that
you are fired.
Okay. I at least hope you get off camera before you shoot. Yeah, fucking do it.
Little bitch. All right. Now I got my anger out.
Okay.
You're rehired. You're back.
Oh, sweet. You know what? No, we're gonna stop the joke there. We're gonna continue.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So before we get into the topics for today, there is a little change up coming to the podcast. In the past, Tuesdays has been the day where the podcast comes out on YouTube, Spotify, and Patreon. For the foreseeable future, we'll be doing a little change up. Still going to be Tuesdays for the audio and Patreon. But if you want to watch the video version of this podcast on YouTube, you'll have to wait 2 days later for Thursday. So if you're a free viewer, audio comes out on Tuesdays, video comes out on Thursdays. If you're a Patreon, audio and video come out the same day on Tuesday. Anything to add?
No, I think he's covered it. I mean, there's not much of that.
Not really.
You better start fucking paying, broke ass bitches. No, I'm joking.
Don't call me with that.
We're glad you're watching.
We appreciate
you don't have to pay.
any of the views.
It's only just nice to know that we're being heard. You know, I appreciate you.
Actually, every time I look at the analytics, I'm actually really surprised because there's a decent amount.
Really?
Considering like what I was expecting was like 1 or 2 views like for an episode overall. We had like 8 views. Like last week's episode for listeners, like 4 views on Spotify.
Wow.
Yeah. Really surprised.
Oh, that's really great. No, thank you for listening. Thank you for
we
tuning
appreciate
in.
that.
Really appreciate it. You know, just hit that like button, subscribe button. If you're on Spotify, subscribe.
It's a follow.
Follow
podcast.
Hit that little bell notification. Man, I've watched too many YouTube videos. Like, it's on fucking lock.
Yeah, lock. So we're a week into the new year. How's it been going for you?
Honestly, shit. I got told my practicum placements have been rejected. Too generic, so we gotta start that baby over again.
I love that.
Already falling behind on my classwork, which there isn't much of already, which is insane.
How are you already behind? It's been 2 days.
They told me to read a chapter. I was supposed to, I wanted to read it last night and get the little summary done. I read it and somehow got distracted by like watching anime.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's not.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. It's been a struggle. It's been a fucking struggle. I'm tired. I didn't even get much of a winter break. I think about... No, I was going to start making really depressing jokes.
Yeah, it's not get depressing.
No, but honestly, in all, it's actually going pretty good. The worst part has been the practicum rejection. The only reason is because I really like my practicum coordinator.
Yeah.
She is like the sweetest lady. Like, honestly, like, best person at Mount Royal. And I just feel bad because I feel like I let her down. More than letting myself down, I let her down is what I feel like. And you know, I hate that feeling. And but you know what? We come back strong. I'm gonna redo them all, send them back out, really personalize them. And she said it was the cover letter, not the resume. So it's like half the work's already done.
That's good then.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, not the greatest, but at the same time, you know what? When you start at the bottom, only way to go up is up. Only
way to go is up.
Yeah.
When you start at rock bottom. You know, I like that.
I don't know why I said up twice.
I don't know.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
How about you? How's your New Year's been?
Pretty chill for the most part. I started the year off with an upload, talking about the new year for my channels. We did the 13-hour stream on Thursday, which actually you were part of.
Yeah, I was. That was very fun.
I do appreciate you coming on for that.
I'm always happy to help. I'm always happy to play games with you, my good friend Liam.
I know.
That we're going to stay friends for the foreseeable future, right?
On side.
I'll take that as a yes. Please continue.
Yeah, other than the technical issues that day, it was great. So like, I have to edit it together before I can upload it because it's 7 different parts.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
There's 7 parts, and I still am missing 14 minutes. Don't understand how that works.
Just gone, eh?
There's 14 minutes that don't exist.
Truly amazing.
Yeah, but that's cool. It's whatever. I think it's, it's cool.
Yeah.
I actually don't even worry. I do have the daunting task, and I'm trying to push through it, of going through and getting clips out to post on like TikTok and stuff, because it's 13 hours I have to go through. That's a lot. It's very daunting, especially considering I'm an hour and 10 minutes in, and I already have 9 clips, and I'm already tired. Luckily, because it's me, I can kind of go to where I have an idea of stuff that could be interesting. But it's still a lot. Like last year, it took me, I think, 2-3 months to actually get stuff out because it took me that long to go through it. Just it's so long.
Oh yeah. Well,
there's so much to go through. It's hard. But
we should hire an editor.
Yeah, with what budget?
The budget that our graceful Patreon subscribers are giving us.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners at home, I'm winking.
Oh yeah, we're doing described video. We're doing the described
closed captions.
No, because if you were listening to audio, you wouldn't get closed captions.
Fuck, you're right.
So we're doing the audio captions. Cameron just laughed. I think instead of an editor, we should hire someone to describe our like actions. He's just sitting up there silent the entire time with a microphone, just Liam readjusts his microphone again. Cameron giggled too quiet for the microphone to pick up. Just the entire time doing that.
Oh, real quick tangent. There's an episode on TV. Real quick tangent.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
yeah,
they have the not the closed caption, but the
described video.
Yeah, described video.
On automatically?
Automatically. No other episode of that TV series has it. No other show within that, like the next episode doesn't have it. It's one specific episode of Big City Green.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest thing, because when I first heard it, I thought I was going fucking insane. And then all of a sudden, I realized that it was just that episode. Like, for some reason, they aired the described video version of it.
That's weird.
Weirdest fucking thing. Quick tangent. It's been on my mind.
For the longest time, I actually didn't know what that was. You watch TV and it come up with like, this content has described video
for the visually
impaired.
Yeah.
And I was always like, oh, that's cool. But I never understood really what that was. To me, the longest time until I actually heard it, I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm going nuts. What happened? Playing with like all the settings, trying to figure out what I did, and then realizing that somehow I was watching the described video. It's
crazy. Yeah, like it was just like something that popped up when you're a kid in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, that's like a thing. Okay. It's not just like something they show off to be like, this is no. Because to me it's like the same as like, this video is brought to you by YTV, right?
Yeah, or like this content has this stuff in it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh cool, like whatever. I never really gave any thought to it, but no, like now I'm like, oh, I get that. That's cool.
Makes sense. But
yeah. Yeah. Well,
sorry, it was just a quick tangent. We were talking about having someone describe it. I just need to get off my mind.
There's no budget for an editor. I can do it myself. Like, that's the thing. If I was putting out that much content, that taking the time to edit it was hindering the content that I was making, then I would look into it and consider it. But I can still edit all my own stuff. I don't want things that I can't do. If it's like something I don't know how to do, I'm gonna learn it before I pay someone to do it, unless it's like really, really hard.
You know what? I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
So, plus, Jeremiah, can you find the clip of this? Put up a big stall right here, Jeremiah. Right here. Jeremiah's in editor. We have to find an editor named Jeremiah now.
We have to find a specific editor.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah.
Oh
I
god.
think before we get an editor, we need like a producer.
We need a lot of shit.
We need a lot of shit. Yeah, but we have no budget.
What we don't need is clips, because I know you hit those in the that Valorant gameplay, man. Fucking headshots.
That first one was actually really good. I actually did really well in the first game.
You did.
Yeah. No. Speaking of editors, I did at one point try and have someone else edit my videos.
Right.
Not to throw anyone under the bus, but it was a former member of the podcast who never did it.
Throwing shade.
Not to throw in shade, but the drunk cooking video that came out in like May. Not to call anyone out, but they want to do their own edit of the video, and it was supposed to come out like he was supposed to send me the clip in like June.
It's now January.
Still not done. He gave himself a deadline, and then he's like, Liam, I'm not done yet. Can I have like another week? I was like, yeah, it's your deadline. I don't care. I already uploaded my edit of it. You can take the time you need. Like, try. He's like, I need you to give me a deadline. I'm not gonna. I'm like, okay, give it to me by July 15th. Never happened.
Damn.
Still love him, but
of course.
Yeah. Why get someone else to edit when I can do it myself?
Yeah,
that's how I find it.
Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. Plus, it's my content. I know what I want from it, so it's kind of like I know what I want to cut.
But it is also like what 13 hours long. You said so. It's a lot to go through with one man.
Yeah, the long stuff is tedious. I'll say the hardest part is making like TikTok clips.
Yeah.
Just because I have to watch the entire thing and try and like, oh, is that funny?
Just become an e-thought.
Not where I was going with that, but okay. I was going to use that as a transition, but I don't really think that applies to Chris.
Well, no, this is the transition, though.
This is the transition. This week, we're talking about Chris Chan. If you guys don't know who Chris Chan is for some reason, Cameron, why don't you give a little explanation of who Chris Chan is? Just a surface level, and then we'll get a little deeper.
Chris Chan is I want to say niche.
How did you describe it to me when you first introduced me to Chris Chan?
I don't even know.
Okay, I thought that would help you do that.
Chris Chan is like a niche internet celebrity who became famous from the trolling, not that he caused, but that he got caused to, or had happened to him. He was like honestly a pioneer in a lot of like the early internet
Let's Plays.
Yeah, he was like
Chris did the first Let's Play.
He's like the first Let's Player. He's a creator of Sonichu. If you guys know what Sonichu is,
yeah,
I know that meme floated around where it's like Sonichu, but like that was Chris Chan. Some people say that he's the most, or she's like the most well documented person.
I was waiting for you to get the.
Right
to fix that.
Well, because it's weird because Chris Chan, like the early stuff where
for the longest time it was
he and then she transitioned. Yeah.
Which a little tangent because I listened to the Geno Samuel 2.1.
Okay.
I love the episode where he transitions because it's he, and then as soon as Chris changes, she.
I love Geno Samuel for that.
Geno's so good because it literally starts the episode with he, and then as soon as Chris officially changes. Boom, switches to she, and then never misses.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, because my mind sometimes gets stuck thinking about like old Chris Chan, and so I think of like he terms, but like she is transgender, right? Yeah. So she made Sonichu. God, Hans Judd. I mean, she was in the news recently for apparently sexually assaulting her mother. That's a fucked up thing.
Yeah,
She has been noted to be like one of the most well documented people in the world. Like if you search it up, it's gonna be like Napoleon or the Pharaohs or something like that. But it's Chris Chan. Every moment of Chris Chan's life is like
she puts stuff constantly because also the trolls were constantly documenting everything.
It's insane. Like the wiki, I think was like 80 pages long.
Yeah,
not the wiki, the quickie.
The quickie, yeah. Wiki. So yeah, the overview of Chris Chan is she is one of the most is cited as the most documented person on the internet. Her life was controlled by trolls for years. Cameron, before we get into how you introduced me to it, because Cameron, so Cameron introduced me, and then that consumed my life for like a year. How did you get into Chris Chan? I never actually asked.
Oh, so that's actually I was actually just about to mention that too because I thought that'd be a great place to start.
Yeah, it was.
So there's this video that somehow popped up in my For You page for YouTube, and it was done by like it was like an edit.
Yeah,
it was like an edit.
It was just a fan
yeah, it's a fucking fan edit of Chris Chan. It was the weirdest thing. But it was like over. I can't remember what song. I think it was on. It was either. Well, what's the song called?
I don't know.
Like I don't know. So I'm just trying to think. Like, do you like how I walk? Do you like how I talk? Do you like how my face disintegrates into chalk?
I know the song, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the name of it right now. I know it's by like Tally Ho. Oh, what's it fucking called? Anyways, I think it was that one, or is it Evangelion? How do you pronounce that? It's an anime, the really famous anime, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you're good.
Yeah, crank that soldier boy. Okay, Sasuke. I fucking can't remember. I've never seen that anime. I don't know what it's called, but
that's cool.
Folks at home will know.
Yeah, you guys might know.
It was either one of those two, but I think it was the Tally Ho edit one, and it was like there's so many clips of this person, and I had no idea because it's just like Chris Chan, and I was like watching it. I'm like, what the fuck? And I think at one point he had like blackface on, and I was like, who is this? And I went to the comments to see because I mean it was a really funny edit.
Yeah.
And I went down to like, I started reading, and I think that's what really hooked me because like the edit was fine, but I was like, okay. I was reading the comments and like, oh, when Chris Chan, blah blah blah. My God, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then someone was like, look up Geno Samuel's documentary.
Yeah, the comprehensive history.
Yeah, I looked it up, and I was like, and at the time I think it was at like 60 episodes. I think it's at.
I started when it only had like 50.
Oh shit! Maybe it was at 40 then.
Yeah.
Maybe it's at 40. No, it was at 60. It just hit like 60, right? It just hit like a big milestone, I think.
Like 50.
No, right now.
Oh, right now it just hit 69.
69. God.
Yeah.
He does it in Roman numerals, and I lose it after like 50.
On Spotify, he puts the numbers.
oh, perfect. Love Spotify for that. But yeah, it was at like 40 at the time, I suppose.
Damn.
It was at like a really big number, 45 minutes apiece.
Yeah, they were long.
So I started it, and then it just kind of, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I really like this because it's kind of depressing. But then like I kind of went back and I'm playing games. I just listened to something. Next thing you know, I'm like 30 episodes fucking deep. But I'm just like, oh my God, this is wow. There's a lot to go
through. It's addicting.
Oh, dude, it fucking goes deep. The lore.
The Chris Chan lore.
You fucking think Destiny lore runs deep? Oh, fucking
you don't even know Chris Chan.
But yeah, I really can't remember if it was the Tally Ho edit or there's another one where it's like, I can't remember how the song goes right now. But it was such like a depressing one too.
Yeah.
And it was so well edited too, because it's like points where like you can hear Chris Chan over the music, and it's just the most depressing thing. And then there's at one point, it couldn't have been. No, it could have been. It had to have been the Tally Ho one because of what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Chris Chan. The edit had Chris Chan sexually assaulting her mother, and I remember that very specifically because there's one point in the song where it's like, it stops the melody and it just kind of goes to vocals, and it shows like the headlines. It was really well edited.
It actually sounds really well edited.
Oh, dude.
Damn.
I can't remember what it's called now, but I know if I searched it up.
You'll find it later. Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you introduced me to Chris Chan.
Yeah, because I saw it and I just knew that I had to share this hell with someone else.
Yeah. And I will say it is on me that you shared it with me because you told me about it during the end of the Cult of Mara series when I was with you like every single day. And when Cameron has no life. I'm sorry.
If you're on the podcast with you, I could be at home. No, fuck.
Doing nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. During that time, it was you were doing nothing or you were out with me.
Yeah, it was a summer. I didn't have much to
do. I'm not naying you on. I'm saying.
I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying that your life was kind of worthless and you had nothing to do throughout the week.
No, but like we were together every single day and it was like a drive, like always like 10-15 minute drive plus like talking about what the video is going to be, then filming it, then going back.
I'm just saying you could have just said I had a lot of free time in the summer. You didn't say I didn't have a life.
Sorry, okay, that's probably a better way. You had a lot of free time.
Fucker.
But because you were with me all the time. We ran out of things to talk about of like normal life things, and I couldn't like even my exciting life. Like I didn't. There was only so much I could tell you about, and instead of the awkward silence, you started telling me like on the drives. You're like, you ever heard Chris Chan? And of course, like I had no idea. And honestly, if you had never brought that up, probably wouldn't have come around my my realm of understanding for a while. But you told me about it, and then you're like, yeah, check out Judo Samuel 2.1. I was like, oh, okay. And I looked it up. I was like, oh my god, these are long, Cameron. You're like, well, I play a while a game, and I didn't like watch stuff while I played video games. Like, Cameron, I'm not gonna do this. He's like, and you like looked at me, and you're like, Liam, there's a podcast, and that really screwed me because I was in.
Oh, yeah.
I've as of the recording of this podcast, there's 69 parts. I've watched all 69. I've listened to all 69 and watched a good chunk.
Oh yeah.
And you definitely affected me because I actually I've told a few people about it.
It's actually funny, because you went to the BC trip with the boy.
Yeah.
And Matthew came back and he's like, I was talking to him about it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, Liam played like some of it in the car. I'm like, oh, he introduced you to that
Yeah.
evil. And then Matthew turned to me and he goes, you introduced me to that evil. Liam just repeated it. I was like, oh yeah, I did tell Matthew before. I forgot. I shared that evil with a lot of people.
Nice. Yeah. So on the BC trip, I don't remember how it came up. We were on like a long ass drive and like, hey, Liam. And they're like, Liam, tell us about Chris Chan. I was like, I'd normally be insulted, but I know more about Chris Chan than I probably do about most other things. Let me fill you in. And it literally, it was like a 3-hour drive, hour and a half. I introduced him to Chris Chan in so much detail. When I finished, I was like, oh my God. Why do I remember all of this? Because it's not stuff that you want to remember. Like a lot of the Chris Chan stuff, it's stuff you wish you could forget.
Oh yeah.
But it's stuck. It burns into your brain. But yeah, so you introduced me to it. You told me all about it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I listened to like an episode or two while I played games, and it didn't really stick. But I went on walks a lot, and I like listened to podcasts while doing that. And I would go on like such long walks that I would listen to like 2 episodes of like a podcast. Point where there was no new episodes of any of them. I was like, well, fuck, dude, what am I going to listen to? Fuck. Okay, I guess I'll listen to Chris Chan. And I did. And I started binging it. And it really got me.
The first few episodes I think are like the most mundane because they're going through like his early childhood.
It's Chris's early life.
And there's like, it's just like the normal, well, I shouldn't say normal upbringing, but like the upbringings of a child. So it's like, he hasn't done anything outlandish. I think it's only I think like the 3rd episode that like, I think then he creates Sonnet.
I think Sonnet 3rd episode.
And like, I want to like people to understand that Sonnet was like his first ever like thing. So there was like a whole, what was that? Hour and 30 minutes before Chris Chan even becomes like Chris Chan.
Yeah, before Chris Chan actually does not like comes up with a thing that really defined her entire future. There's an hour and a half of stuff because it's so like it's all public, all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It really it's insane because I think I used to listen to it playing. I think Fallout 4 because you don't play Fallout 4. You don't have to like. I was playing also like. Not the survival mode. So you don't have to listen. You can just
you can just play.
You just click the button. You kill the enemies. Like you don't have to like listen for anything. It's not like an audio clue game.
Yeah.
And so I just turn off the radio in the game and just turn on that, and I listen to it and it's just by the 3rd episode, it's like, oh yeah, you started listening to hearing about Sanchu. You're like, oh, I know Sanchu. That's a funny character. And then it just kind of
it takes honestly, even the introduction of Sanchu is kind of chill. Once the trolls are introduced, like once Chris graduates high school, that's when it takes a turn.
Yeah.
Because that's when it starts getting more depressed because it's we're not gonna be able to go over everything in this episode, but
I mean, again, well, hold on. Let me do the really quick math here.
Yeah, you do that.
Because it's
but pretty much once you introduced me to Chris Chan, the comprehensive history. That was my most listened to podcast for the entire next year. Like literally, I was listening to it all the time. Very few moments where I had to stop. I took the longest break I took was in the fall this year. I was on the bus and I think it was like part 62. I was listening to it and it started getting so like I was on the bus No one could hear what I was listening to, but I got so uncomfortable about what Chris was doing. I just turned it off.
What was it that in part 62? Because I gotta say,
maybe it wasn't part 62. It was. Sounding if I remember, it was Chris's like first comic in a while.
Okay.
And it was full of like sex, but it was so weird, and like Gina was going way too much into detail with describing what was going on in the panels.
Oh.
I couldn't listen to it. I turned it off.
Yeah, see, it's really bad because like people be like, "Yeah, I stopped at this part," but to me, everything like has melded together, and I forgot so much happens that like I forget.
There's
so much.
There's a lot of things that I feel like I should have stopped. For some reason, that put me off for like 2 months. I did not touch the comprehensive history for 2 months because I was so turned away by that.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just remembering that year, 2021 to 2022. I just remember like, oh, what podcast to listen to? Chris Chan.
Right.
I listened about Chris Chan. Chris Chan was in that. Like Chris Chan was then. Just Chris Chan all the time. The most memorable time of listening to Chris Chan was actually shortly after you introduced me to it, and when it finally actually like hooked me.
Oh yeah.
It was when I was doing the scouting for the finale of the series, and I was in the park, and I'm listening to Chris Chan walking around, and I'm like, oh, the paths kind of suck, but there's like a lot of treed areas. Let's see if I can find a clearing. So I go walking into the clearing. I probably talked about this on a video sometime before. But I go walking into the trees, clearing, looking around, and while out there, I start realizing I completely don't know where I am, and I don't know a path back. I'm like, okay, let's just listen to Chris Chan. This is fine. Like, I know at some point if I keep walking, I'm gonna find a way. And then I walk into a fucking abandoned car.
Yeah, the abandoned car.
And that scared the shit out because I walk up to it, I was like, and I'm hearing like trees. Of course, it was like animals, but I got so scared because I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to die listening to Chris Chan. And I didn't have any signal.
Oh my god.
So I was actually really worried. And then I kept walking, and I ended up getting a signal. I called you. And you're like, hey, what's up, Liam? I was like, hey, Cameron, I'm really scared right now. You're like, oh, what's going on? You're completely didn't even care. It was FaceTime on. I was like, Cameron, I don't know where I am. You're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm lost. I walked into the trees and I don't know where I am. And then you started paying attention. And I was like, Cameron, I found this really creepy thing. And you're like, okay, Liam, just do the joke. And I showed you the car. You're like, holy fuck, Liam, where are you? I was like, I don't know. And actually looking at the map, really stupid to walk in and not know where I was going. Because I thought I was going in the right, like a really easy direction. Keep going. It goes. This was a big one. So if I went in the wrong direction, I would just keep going for a while. And I didn't. And from the path, I didn't go straight. I went like zigzag. So I completely screwed. I'm so lucky I found my way out. I completely fucked myself.
What a way to go. Gets lost.
I know. And then I also did the really stupid thing of when I first realized I was lost, I did a spin around to see if I could see anything, but then I didn't turn back to the place I started.
Aww.
So I completely, I could have really been lost in the woods. And of course, I couldn't call you for help because you don't have a car.
I don't.
Or a license.
I would have called 911 though. I would have got you.
Taking the bus to go find me. Get on the bus. Thanks.
No, I didn't even have my bus pass. It was the summertime.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you've been fucked. Yeah, I would have just called the police.
Yeah, no.
He's in the forest. Yeah. Park.
Of all the times I listened to Chris Chan, that was the one that really stuck, was listening to Chris Chan while I got lost in the forest for like an hour.
Mm.
And then like I lost signal a bunch. The episode ended and I didn't have signal at the time, so I didn't start the next one up, so it was just silence. So I was walking around in silence.
Oh my god. If I could just say
Yeah, you did your quick math?
I did the math. So yeah, we won't be able to get over all of it, because I mean all of it would involve 51 hours and 45 minutes. Roughly. That's based on a 45-minute estimate of each episode. And I know some go under.
Some are over and some are under, yeah.
Yeah. So it's around 51 hours worth of content.
Damn. I've listened to 51 hours of content.
And Gino Samuel, like, goes through everything.
Shout out to Gino Samuel. He does not skip over things.
I mean, it's so heavily documented that, like, it's not necessarily the hardest to find, but he goes through
everything.
All of it, and it's impressive. It really
is. Like
I don't
honestly,
want to undermine him any bit.
No, I've seen some others, and they try and do the same thing, but they skip over so much, and they go to the highlights. Gino Samuel goes to each and every single thing. Like, literally, there's some episodes later on that are so mundane, because it's like Chris did this, Chris did this, Chris did this, but there's nothing actually notable. It's just like, oh, Chris documented, like, this is just documented stuff of Chris. Holy man.
Well, yeah, so I know we're kind of like jumping all over the place. But
We
like,
are.
At one point, Chris just kind of stops making
Content.
Stops making Sonichu content, right? Like,
She stops making everything
yeah,
at
like
one point.
it's all about like her OCs and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like really the point where everything stopped becoming like funny and it just kind of became sad.
When Chris stopped making everything, it got depressing. Like, and that's the thing is, Chris is not always the victim. Chris is not always the victim. The trolls are not always like horrible people. And that's the thing is, when I finally hit me, I was like, oh my god, this isn't like a podcast. Like, I started and I was like, oh, I'm listening to like a podcast. Like, this is kind of like, oh, Chris is the victim. And then Chris started like, Chris took a turn, changed it for me. What are you looking up?
Hold on, sorry. I want to, because we're kind of jumping all over the place.
We are.
I kind of want to do something here.
Okay.
There is something called the Chris Chan timeline.
Oh, that'd be perfect to keep us on track.
So I'm gonna try. Oh, they're all fucking Hold on.
And if you guys are interested in anything we're talking about, check out Geno Samuel 2.1 on YouTube and Spotify, and you guys can actually get a more in-depth discussion look into Chris' life. But this is something that you and me have really, for the longest time, like when we were in school, the only thing we talked about was me telling you updating you what episode I was on and what just happened. Like, I remember I'd go for a walk and I'd listen to us apart and Chris would do something and I'd be like, what the fuck? And then I would text you like, Chris just did this on the podcast. You'd be like, oh, what episode are you on? And you'd be like, yeah, that's how I reacted too.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So this only goes to 2011, but I'm gonna name off everything on this list.
Okay.
In order.
How long is the list?
Well, it's kind of like a timeline.
Okay.
It goes up to 2011. So, I mean, that's probably like the busiest years. But we got the Megan saga, Adam Stackhouse saga, Jimmy Hill saga, the ED saga. Some of these go over top of each other too.
Yeah.
The Blanca saga, Panda Halo saga, Miyamoto saga. So shit, like I'm reading something. Christian wanted to be like a CEO of Nintendo.
Yeah, Chris wanted Nintendo to buy Sonichu, to put Sonichu in all the games, and then she thought she was
like
worthy
office.
of like some office.
I think it was like $200,000 a year plus like a corner office. I remember that shit. She wanted a corner office.
And trolls pretend to be the CEO of Nintendo.
Ivy saga, Clyde Cash / Greg May saga, Liquid Chris. Asperchew, Wikipedia, Surfshack Tito, The Game Place, Quickville, Exile, Jackie, and Tom Girl. And then like that goes to 2011, and it
keeps going. So the names, a lot of those are trolls, like the big figurehead trolls.
The fucking biggest one that I remember is Ivy. Ivy was like this kid. Like I don't think they were even like over 18.
No.
And they pretended. I think Ivy was the most fucked up of them all because Ivy.
Really?
It was Ivy because, or was it Ivy that I'm thinking of? Correct me.
It does what?
Well, they pretended to be a girl.
I love that I can correct you if you're wrong.
I know you're way more comprehensive than this. I like watched them and kind of like mindlessly took them in.
They burn into my memory.
Yeah, you got it and locked it. But
let's go.
Was it not Ivy that pretended to be a girl?
Okay. Was
actually a guy, and then I was like, "Oh, I need you to get my like permission from my little brother or something like that." And so Chris talks to her little brother, which is just him without the girl voice.
Yeah.
And he's like, he told him to like stick the Sonichu medallion up his ass. Was that Ivy or was that someone else?
I think that was earlier than Ivy.
Might have been someone else.
Wasn't Ivy the one that wanted him to make the drawing of the circle jerk with them? That Chris didn't. That they ended because Chris can't. Oh, and this is a big reason why I realized when I finally realized that Chris was not the victim. Chris was super racist and homophobic.
Oh yeah, he was.
Chris was a massive piece of shit. Like when you finally realize his views on people, you're like, oh my god, because he was so aggressive. Because the big thing that first put him into the light was on the college campus, his girlfriend search.
Holy shit! Oh, can we talk about that for a fucking second?
That was what really first hooked me. When I first got that, I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna keep going with this. I cannot stop. Chris wanted a girlfriend, and he didn't know how to talk to women, so he sat around his campus with a sign, and it was looking for a boyfriend-free girl, who is loyal. If you can look up the sign, loyal and something, and it was like, but at the bottom it was like, blacks not apply, something else not apply.
I think it was. Hold on, I want to see.
I know it was the blacks not apply because that was when I first realized. Because like, oh my god, why would you put that on a sign, Chris?
The attraction sign.
There we go.
Was used by Chris during his love quest to get the attention for boyfriend-free girls.
Yeah. I got that part right.
There's no fucking pictures of it. Hold on.
Damn it! I would look it up, but my phone's recording the podcast. Damn it.
Oh,
you got it?
Hold on, I'm just trying to read here. An early version ran, "I am an X-year-old male seeking an 18X2."
Right, he put the ages on it.
Yeah, year-old single woman. But more important about Chris and demands about his partner soon found their way onto the sign. All the original signs have likely been destroyed in the house fire of 2014. I say that shit and I go, oh yeah, the house fire, as if it's like a normal occurrence. But it's like
his family was hoarders. After his dad died, they got worse. And what they did was they had an extension cord going from the bathroom to the kitchen to plug stuff in, and the bathroom door would cut away the extension cord. And while Chris was making coffee one night, having a fire in the house, and the firefighters had to go through the window because the doors were blocked by all their trash.
Yo, it's fucking insane. Okay.
You got it?
I'm reading one here, but I'm just trying to see. There's one that says the sign in college. Many variations of the sign were produced when Chris was in college.
Yep.
Chiefly because Mary Lee Walsh kept confiscating them. I forgot about Mary Lee Walsh. Man, she's a fucking legend. During this time, Chris waged war by creating MySpace and Facebook accounts, then printing new signs and plastering them all over campus, only to be torn down and turned by Mary. Regardless of Mary's effort, the signs required updating annually since the requisite age of the boyfriend-free girl was invariably 18 to whatever Chris's age was at the time.
Which got creepier and creepier as he got older.
Oh yeah.
Because like 24, I want an 18-year-old to 24-year-old. It's like, okay, Chris.
I really saw it, but there's Wikipedia, right?
Yeah.
Which is the quickie.
Yeah, the Wikipedia.
It says signs and then the sign Mark 1. Like, but here's how
like Iron Man suits,
right? This is like the basis of the sign.
Yeah.
21 and single white male, shy, smart, young at heart, computer skilled, humorous, a great thinker and go-getter, natural salesperson, enjoys good parts of life, diplomatic, friendly, loves his family, peaceful, very creative. He's lonely. Seeking a cute 18 to 21, he was at 21 at the time, single female companion, 18 to 21 years of age, does not already have a boyfriend, single. Average to slender weight/body type, white, lives in Charlottesville or Ruckersville area, does not smoke or drink alcohol, happy, positive personality, average to high income, drives a vehicle.
Yep.
Image of Sonichu's face. If any men read this huge sign, mind your own business. And to all men with girlfriends, except married and blacks, go jump off a cliff. Have a nice day.
Oh my god.
That was the sign. That was the Mark one.
That was his first sign.
And then I think it like evolved.
You know what?
Yeah.
Chris probably would have been in a much different position in life if they like Tinder and stuff had been around back then. That's a bio. Chris wrote a bio.
Again, Chris is a fucking pioneer. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
She was a pioneer. She pioneered so much shit.
Objectively, yes.
It's not for the right reasons.
Yeah.
But by God, did she pioneer a lot.
By God, do I hate that sign.
Oh my God, it's such a funny
That sign really changed how I was playing it.
The Love Quest was like one of the funniest songs. Like, we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Like, me and you're talking about this shit like, oh man, that song was hilarious. And I know the viewers at home are like, what the fuck?
See, you guys are experiencing how I did at first, because when I was first starting it, that's how you would talk to me. Is you would be like, oh my God, I love the Liquid Chris saga. I'd be like,
the Liquid Chris song is the fucking best. I'm going to talk about it.
And I was like, who the fuck is Liquid Chris? You're like, You're not at Liquid Chris. I'm like, I'm on episode 4, Cameron. How the fuck am I supposed to be there?
Okay.
Okay, go for it.
Liquid Chris was the best troll of them all, right?
I do actually love Liquid Chris.
Because all the other trolls were like, a lot of them were like really mean spirited, especially in the beginning.
A lot of them tried to embarrass Chris. Liquid Chris played the mental game.
Yeah.
That's the best. Like that's how I think of Liquid Chris.
Yeah, because all the other trolls.
Liquid was the first one to do the mental torture.
Well, yeah, because all the other trolls were like just mean and just out to get him.
Yeah.
Because he was so easily fooled, right? Chris Chan was just so easily fooled.
Yeah, Chris believed the reason, like, because trolls controlled Chris's life because so easily manipulated. Like it was like I'm like literally you just had to pretend to be a girl that was interested in Chris and you had him around your thumb.
Right, exactly, right. You could do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there was, like I said, there's one person who like literally made him break up.
Break
he
up
wore, like, a
because
sonic medallion.
and he said that his power was in that.
Yeah, and they made him break it up and shove it up his ass.
Yeah, chop it up to shove it up his ass, and then reveal themselves as trolls because he also had to send them a video of that.
And it was really sad too because it was in that before I talk about Liquid, because that part, because it was like a group of people that were like in on it, right?
Yeah,
and the other people, because I can't remember who it was. You said it was before Ivy.
I think it was before Ivy. I might be wrong.
But whoever it was, right?
Yeah,
there's like a group of people, and the other people were, even at that point were like, "Hey, yo, that's not."
Yeah, that was because they made Chris send them the video of him doing that, and then they released the video.
Yeah, and then I remember because I think it was like a Discord call where they were talking, and like some of the guys were like, "Yo, that's fucked up. We should stop." And like that, because that shit's like fucked up. But Liquid Chris, the whole thing Liquid Chris did was impersonate Chris Chan.
Yeah, but poorly. But all the trolls decided.
Fuck you mean poorly? That shit was like the greatest impersonation.
So he did it, but he didn't look anything like Chris.
Oh,
that was the thing.
The look, okay.
So like personality wise, yeah, but like visually did not look like Chris. But it worked because all the trolls came together to decide that they were gonna say that was the real Chris.
It was so funny because he had like the voice and everything down. Because if you ever listen to Chris Chan speak, they have this really weird accent and like they have these pauses.
Yeah,
and if you don't like know about it, you wouldn't pick up on it right away. And if you tried to like impersonate him, I don't think anyone would do a good job unless you really like studied it. Because you could do an accent.
Studied Chris.
No, you have to like study his vocal pattern.
No, that's true.
But like Liquid Chris got it so well, and he had like his own medallion, and he had the right. I think he had like the shirt.
He had a brown. It was the same shirt, but it was brown and something.
Yeah, because Chris had like the famous
red and blue.
Red and blue.
Yeah.
And then Liquid Chris had like
brown and yellow. It was brown and yellow.
Brown and yellow. Yeah, Charlie Brown looking.
Yeah, and Chris was like, "He said you were the right shirt."
Right, but it was so funny because Liquid Chris was so adamant that he was Chris Chan, and of course, Liquid Chris wasn't like delusional. It was all like a troll.
It was a complete troll. But Liquid Chris was also like what Chris wanted to be. Because he had a girlfriend.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend, and like Chris was like trying to get this girl, and Liquid Chris was like, but you're not Chris Chan. I am the true Christian Weston Chandler. You are not." And then Chris would flip out.
What? Oh, they gave him a name. He said, "You're not Chris Chan. You're."
Yeah, I can't remember what his name was.
Something. I think Anderson was in it.
Oh fuck! Maybe. Dude, I'd have to do so much. I had to look it up on my phone.
Well, no, yeah. They were trying to convince Chris that he was the false one.
It was so, but it was so funny because it wasn't like necessarily mean spirited. It was just like a genuinely funny troll. It was like the funniest stuff. And then they had like a Discord call with the Chris Chan, Liquid Chris, and then like the girl
Casey.
Casey.
Yeah, I remember her name.
Yeah,
no, because that was my favorite one because it was like after a while I was like, this is kind of depressing, and then the Liquid Chris came and I was like, hey, it's kind of funny.
It was so funny
because they weren't like they never went out of the way to like it wasn't like to harm Chris. That was the biggest thing was look at Chris. There was never any harm to Chris that was coming. It was always just like screwing with him.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that because it was hard to listen to some of the ones where they were going out of the way to like really trying to ruin Chris's life.
It was.
Yeah.
Liquid Chris was just so fucking funny in the sense that like he had the personality down to a T.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then it was just so funny. And then I think at one point he just kind of gave up and he just went radio silent. And apparently he's doing really well in life. Apparently,
That's good.
I think he went to like med school or something.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember because I think I scrolled down the comments. Someone was like, "Yeah, he went on to like live a good life."
Hey, good for him.
Oh, good for him, man.
Yeah, and I know for like a little while, like he would go radio silent. He'd come back and be like, "Chris kidnapped me and kept me in the desert." My favorite part of that saga wasn't the Chris. Like the funniest parts were when Chris was talking to Casey. Because I remember I was coming home from work one night and I was finishing this episode, and it was when Chris was on the phone with Casey, and he was like, how big is other Chris's dick? And she's like, oh, it's huge. He's like, oh, mine's small. And then he just kind of move on. I was like, what the fuck did he just ask?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because I came home and I texted you. I was like, why the fuck did Chris ask that? Like, what the hell? So you think Ivy was the worst troll?
I think so. Like, especially in those early years.
Early years, I could see the troll that made him cut up the medallion. I could see that.
Well, because they made him cut him up and put it up his ass.
I know. Overall, I think worst trolls are the idea guys.
Oh, that's like the later half of it.
Yeah, those are like the most recent, like big ones.
That shit's like,
those are the ones that made like so many trolls turn against them and try and help Chris. Because the idea guys, those were actually hard episodes to listen to.
Well, because the idea guys really try to play into his delusions, and I think
because later on in life, Chris started having delusions of the comics, of like the Sanchi stuff being real in a different universe.
Yeah, we should mention that like Christian wholeheartedly
Chris 100% believes that Sonichu and all that exist and are real in a different universe separate to ours.
And that she can transfer between them.
She can go back and forth and like, yeah.
And there's like multiple universes. All your OCs exist.
All video games.
The dimensional merge will happen.
Yeah.
Right? Some will die, but that's like an acceptable thing. Sound like fucking Lord Farquaad for a little bit. Some of you may die.
Yeah.
But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Like,
when her dad died and she was like, oh, I'm not sad because he's alive. He's in Quickville. He's a Sonichu.
Yeah.
And then the 3 Sonichus.
Yeah, can I say that real quick? I know it's a bit of a tangent.
No, I was actually about to bring that up.
The fucking 3 Sonichus.
So Chris, you can say who they are, but so Chris believed that there were 3 human Sonichu hybrids. So if you died, you would become a full Sonichu in the world of Quickville. It was Chris, her dad, and
fucking Ted Bundy.
She believed that Ted Bundy was framed.
She believed that
not a real silicone, that he was completely framed, and he was the 3rd human Sonichu hybrid.
Like, of all the people in the world, you picked a serial killer because she fully believed he was innocent. And it's like,
because she was like, he's a Sonichu. He couldn't have killed those people. He's a Sonichu.
It's just so funny to me. Like, it's you have 3 Sonichus, and it's like, okay, it's her dad, and then you think maybe her mom.
Literally when they're going through, it's like, oh, like, yeah, your dad and your mom. That would make sense.
But
fucking Ted Bundy. Her mom is not a Sonichu, but Ted Bundy is.
It's like one of those really, like, if you said it, and like someone, like, you just like saying this comment, did you know there's 3 Sonichus in the world? Chris Chan, her dad, and Ted Bundy? Yeah. They would lock you up. They would fucking lock you up in an insane asylum. I
texted you. That was another one where I texted you where I was like, he fucking thinks Ted Bundy is innocent, Cameron. And you're like, oh, you're at that part. I was like, yeah, what the hell?
That shit's so fun. And this is what I mean. Like, there's so much to go over. Like,
no, there's literally so much. I know, because it's so much.
We go from Ivy to the fucking Liquid Chris, but then we jump to the idea guy, and then back. Yeah, dude, there's so much.
Yeah, no, but because that was the beginning of Delusions when you started realizing, like, oh my god, Chris is delusional. The idea guys fucked with her head so much.
And there's like a thing.
There was some trolls that even if they were bad, I'd be like, okay, I can say like the funny part.
Yeah.
This was just horrible.
Well, yeah. So the thing is, right? Like, I took like a class in like, what was it? Fucking, I can't remember the name of it right now. But it's kind of like, you know, dealing with like trauma and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's just like one class. I'm not like a professional or anything. But we had like this whole bit about like schizophrenia, and a big thing about schizophrenia is that like they say like do not play into the delusion.
Yeah.
Like don't agree with them. Don't say, oh, I see it too. The best thing to do is try to like go, like ground them back into reality.
Yeah.
Right. Like if they go, oh, I'm seeing these dragons. They're all above us. You go, there's only clouds above us. There's no dragon. Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but you start playing into it, it doesn't
Yeah.
help anyone. Like, that's a big thing. Because some people think, like, oh, you know, if we just play with it, right, they'll just go along with it, and it'll be fine. But, like, the big thing they say is, like, do not play with it. Like, do not encourage the delusion. Ground them back to reality. And Idea Guys did exactly that. They fucking played into the delusions.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Chan at that point was already, like, off the rails. Like, Chris Chan was a fucking train car. I think someone explained it. Oh, that was a comment on one of the videos.
Yeah.
Was Chris Chan's life was a train wreck happening at, like, 1 mile per hour.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't look away.
That's exactly how I felt. Was I couldn't stop watching. I couldn't stop experiencing it, even though it was so horrible and there was so many bad things happening.
And especially if you know the ending too, where like Chris Chan goes through like the legal courts and everything,
Mhm.
the sexual assault allegations, you just kind of go like, oh, what
Allegation, confession.
was it a confession?
Yeah.
Well, see, some people say it was a confession over the phone, but some people are contesting that.
Really?
I think someone was like contesting that like he did have sex, but it was just easier for him to say it was his mom God, I fucking said that.
So the way I heard it, when I finally looked, like saw stuff about it, was Chris was on a phone with a troll, like a female troll, pretending to be into him,
Yeah.
talking about sex, and he went, "Yeah, I've had sex with my mother,"
Yeah.
and the troll was like so shocked that she reported him,
Yeah.
and then that happened.
Well, I heard that too, but what I heard was like that bit.
Yeah.
He was implying that it was weird, and I think
Okay.
it's a bit of a stretch, but it was that when he said that, he was saying it as like a cover up, because I think I can't remember exactly what I heard, but something about like either like a prostitute or something.
But he's been open about prostitutes.
Yeah, which I don't
Because
get.
he lost his virginity to a prostitute, and he was very open about it.
Oh yeah, he did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because he had a whole vlog about it, losing virginity to a prostitute.
Yeah. See, I can't fully remember, but someone was saying that like that confession wasn't really like a
Okay.
proper confession or something like that, and so they were contesting it or something.
Okay.
Again, I'm just waiting for the Geno Samuel to catch up. To
I know, right?
with,
I'm not actually as much of an expert on this time because I'm just following Gino Samuel.
right.
So I'm still.
and
like-
we're catching up there. We're
I
getting
know
close.
we're getting because there's nothing left. There's nothing past that confession.
Right.
Chris was arrested,
Oh yeah.
so there is nothing past that.
It's the end.
That's literally the stopping point. So now we're catching up to it. Before it was, he was going, but it was more content coming ahead of time.
And,
So
like,
every episode he got out, there was another episode of content out.
yeah, no, it's fucking insane.
That was
though.
insane.
Just it's so hard because like you could go through it all in order, but to do it would take hours, and you can just pull out like highlights.
Yeah.
Like yeah, the idea guys were really bad because they really did. Because at that point,
Well,
yeah,
we're about at an hour, so actually, if you guys want to see us talk about the idea guys and some of the other trolls, check out the Patreon.
we do this Patreon.
We're doing this Patreon, yeah, just so we don't go too far.
Oh, you know what? Fuck, all right, I'm down for
So
that.
yeah, if you guys want more, us to talk about the idea guys and all that, check out the Patreon. It's like
Leave
in
a
the
comment
description.
if you want us to talk about Chris Chan just a little bit more.
Yeah, if you guys want to do it, us do another episode, we can easily go. We can even structure that episode to go about
Right, this
that.
shit's off the cuff. If you
Yeah,
are
if you guys
kind of interested in this,
want
let
us
us
to
know.
keep
We will
going.
structure a video.
Oh, we can easily structure an episode about that. We can even do a special.
I'll rewatch the 57 hours. Just
Yeah,
to get
I'll
that
go
done.
through it again just to get prepared.
Right? I'm gone.
And normally I could be like, oh, okay, like skip over it. Gino Samuel went into too much detail because Chris went into too much detail. And I was like, okay, we don't need this. I feel like that's a great place to end
Yeah.
Chris Chan.
Let's end it here.
So again, if you guys wanted that to listen to the exclusive segment on Chris Chan, on the idea guys and the tangents we went off of from there, check out the Patreon link down below. It's $5 for the tier, and you guys get access to that.
And again, like I said, if you want to hear more about Chris Chan, you want a more structured video, less off the cuff and like more in order.
Yeah, let us
leave
know.
a comment down below. Leave a like. Leave a dislike if you dislike the video. You know, any criticism is good criticism.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But with that, we're actually gonna be ending the podcast here for today, guys.
Yeah.
This was a lot less of a multi-topic episode and more of a single, but I felt it was a good time to introduce something that we both have in common.
Yeah. No.
With that being said, anything else?
You know, if you like more single topic content, or if you want more topic content, let us know down below in the comment section.
Yeah.
You know, we want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. We're here for you, the people.
Yeah. Cameron.
Yeah.
Do you know the outro? Son of a bitch. That's just gonna be your outro from now on.
That is my outro.
Yeah.
I that made my outro.
Social media links down in the description down below. Subscribe and follow depending on wherever you can to find out the other episodes. If you guys haven't watched other episodes, check them out. This is episode 13 of the podcast. There's 12 other episodes if you guys want to check those out. If you want to see us on other places, again, my social media links are down below under the tag Liam. His are under the tag Cameron. And if you guys listen to this on YouTube,
I wonder if that's where I got all those new followers from.
you got new followers?
Yeah, you don't get new followers. I'm not sure if it's because I like so much content on Instagram. Or
You guys following Cameron?
If you're following me from this video, let me know down below in the comments.
Yeah.
I know I've been saying leave a lot of comments for
leave a lot of comments,
but I'm actually genuinely
give some
curious.
engagement.
I know I'm genuinely curious because I got a whole bunch of follows.
No, it's actually sick. Yeah.
I know one of them was because I liked some of the.
If you guys follow Cameron from the podcast, let them know down in the description down below.
Okay, comment on one of my Instagram posts. Whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you want to hit me up, ladies.
That are over 18.
Yeah, that should make it. No, let's cut this out. No, we're calling here.
Yeah, we'll call it there.
All right. See you, folks.
See you, folks.